All right, greetings. Sending you all some warm, positive vibrations. This is Body Culinary. Chef Coach Kwasa coming at you live from Crown Jewel here in Central America, and it's time for our Sunday coaching session. So our Sunday coaching is really to support us in all things having to do with our lifestyle, which here the focus is whole, fresh living and unprocessed foods as a lifestyle, not a diet, a daily personal movement practice, and garden/nature therapy. These are what I like to call leverage lifestyle practices. Leverage in that they give us so much more back for the investment of our time. So if you're making investments, hopefully you're getting something back. You should be getting back more for your investment, right? If you're putting something in, you should be getting something out. If you're leaving conversations or if you're leaving social media and you don't feel motivated to get into action, if you don't feel more enriched and more educated, then what are you doing on social media? So again, I'm Chef Coach Kwasa, natural born woman, professional chef, personal trainer. I've trained at Equinox for 10 years plus. I have a background in African dance, yoga certified, kettlebell certified, pre-postnatal certified. And living a lifestyle that is healthy is really important to me, especially as someone that comes from a family background of diabetes, morbid obesity, heart disease, and cancer as a result of lifestyle. And I want to make very clear, all of who we are is not our weight. Your weight is a symptom. It's a manifestation. It's really an expression of how we are managing or not effectively managing stress, the stressors of life. So all of who we are could never be just our weight, though our weight is telling us something about our lifestyle. It's just a reflection. It's a symptom. At the same time, we're prioritizing, even in this climate of body positivity, we're prioritizing health. And this is not just looking good and looking healthy, because it's easy to look a certain way. It's easy to put lots of stage lights and makeup on, right? And nobody can see you when you're off the camera. However, there are some very intentional, tangible goals, right, that we're looking for, right? When we're talking about health, we want to feel good and feel good about ourselves, but also we want to be very intentional. We want to be very effective, and we should be able to measure the investments in time and our walking and our cardio. We should be able to see and to feel some differences over time. So when you're using a coach, the goal is for you to be more effective and efficient, to shorten your learning curve so that you're learning some things, and also so that you can get some tangible results. That's what I'm looking for when I'm working with a coach. At the same time, I'm very well aware that what most people want, as we're looking at celebrities and social media, and we have a fantasy, we want this kind of body, we may imagine all our problems are going to end when we get a 6-pack or 8-pack. As someone who is very observant of patterns and very intrigued by humans, our tendency to self-sabotage ourselves with habits that take us out fast and slow, and also very fascinated by self-actualization. What does it take for us to really manifest, right? That word is thrown around a lot. But what does it take so that we can actually experience long-term and live in the types of bodies that we want to, have bodies that can perform the way we want them to, with a sharp brain, feeling light, where we're not over consumed by being obsessed with food and tasty things? What does that look like? It is a mindset. And so I don't take for granted, as somebody that studies drug addicts for a reason, I don't take for granted mental conditioning, trauma, unresolved trauma, because the way that we show up, that we're expressing our bodies right now, it's a walking pile of habits from all the different things we've experienced, as well as our deeply ingrained mental conditioning. If you're underestimating that, then I don't know what to tell you. It's like we're not experiencing the results that we want, because we're not really getting to the bottom of what is driving a lot of our autopilot behaviors that are going automatically, that we're not even thinking about. And our tendency to just have a, I call it an out of body experience, to not be present. And before we know it, we have eaten more than we could have ever imagined. We don't have any idea of how much we're eating. We're reaching for specific types of food, not because we're bad people, but in order to soothe ourselves, chemically, sensorially, in terms of textures and feels and temperatures. So I really love to unpack those things. Hey, greetings, Lily.
Hi,
How are
good
you?
afternoon. I'm fine. Thank you for asking.
Oh, good, 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 good. So today in our Sunday coaching, we're going to be exploring and unpacking, how do you know you've had enough calories, aka fuel? And we like to make the distinction between fuel and energy, even though sometimes it may seem like we're talking about the same things. We can be aware, we can choose a certain topic, but our level of awareness, imbibing certain principles, that, as you have seen, is a process, right? To reconnect, to be present, to not be disconnected from, I know, but I don't do. If we know something, we have awareness, we have information, that doesn't necessarily equate to doing or to a specific result. I mean, if we just look around. So it's something to be very humble, right? To our set point, our set point. What we do on automatic pilot when we're under stress, we just reach for it unthinkingly. That is nothing to take for granted. It really takes a mental reset. That is something that you can't see. That is something that we want to cultivate, to support, that we want to add more education, right? That happens over a period of time because we also have busy lives. But there is a process to cultivating a mindset of fitness, a mindset of feeling light in the body, a mindset of respect for the body, a mindset of compassion for ourselves and not beating ourselves up as we become aware of our habits, our habituated patterns of thought. That compassion is also something we want to cultivate, because I can almost guarantee you that is not the set point of internal dialogue and mental conditioning of the average person, right? So, welcome to Sunday. Any thoughts to start off? Uh-oh, you still there, Lily?
Yeah, I'm still here.
Huh?
I don't really have any thoughts, honestly. I don't have really much to say.
That's okay. That's okay. Contemplate. Well, this is we can really leverage and make use of social media. It's a wonderful way for us to connect in different countries. So that is indeed, that's a blessing, right? And I like to leverage things. I really like to take advantage of the tools that we have available. That's the best that we can do. If we're not leveraging the tools that we have at our disposal, um, then that would be quite unfortunate. But over here in this corner, our goal is to invest in ourselves, to educate ourselves and support ourselves so that we can see the results tangibly. So in unpacking this calorie thing, enough calories, we're possessed by calories, right? And calories are, a simple way to think of calories are units of energy or fuel, right? So the question today is, how do you know you've had enough calories? We want to put some awareness on the screen, right? The subtle, the nuanced stuff, as well as combine that with science, so we can arrive at and get some space between and be able to assess, um, do I have enough? What's my quality? So we can know, what do we need to do differently? Where do we need to put our focus? What do we need to change? Can we assess what we've been spot on with, right? Because this lifestyle thing is something that we cultivate over time. It's bigger than me just giving you a recipe or giving you some workouts. The mindset needs to change. It also needs to be questioned, right? The things that we're thinking about automatically, the foundation that is feeding, the internal dialogue that's feeding our actions, right? It's a bunch of thoughts, memories, triggers. So we want to pack. What do we know about calories? What do you know about calories?
Uh, Calories. Well, it's not just simply just a number. It's also about nutrition and hydration, because you can eat junk food, but it's not going to feed you. You can be starving because you're not getting the necessary vitamins, because sugar, salt, and fat is not good enough to nourish your muscle, your brain, and your body. Whereas actual fruit and vegetables that equal to the same calories actually, you actually can get far more nutrition from vegetables and it having less calories in it and you keeping a healthy body weight. That's how I view calories, and that's what I've been learning for the last couple of years.
Yeah. So it's energy, and we're getting the energy basically from food, right? Whether it's recreational, whether it's tasty, whether it's not tasty, whether it's poor quality, low quality, we're getting our calories from fuel that we ingest through our mouth. Unless you're somebody that's in a hospital, that's convalescing and recovering, and they're dropping or dripping um, sustenance into your body via IV. We're eating it, right? So how would you know if you got enough calories? What are some signs that you've had enough fuel or calories?
For me in particular, if I have enough fiber, hydration, and um the vitamins and nutrition, I don't feel hungry. I don't think about food, and I don't have any cravings. I usually don't have a blood sugar drop, or it's usually I don't have cravings and I don't have a blood sugar drop, and I'm not thinking about food. That's how I know that I'm good with my nutrition.
Yeah, that's a good answer. Actually, well, you've been coaching for a while now, for a couple of years, right? Well, what you just said, those couple of distinctions, I love distinctions over here because they really make the difference. Those are distinctions that many of us are not dialed into or tuned into or aware. To not have cravings, that's that's life altering. To not have cravings, especially if you are carrying a lot of excess unhealthy adipose tissue, is usually because we're having cravings, and those cravings are not necessarily because we don't have enough calories, right? If we have enough calories, but yet we have the appetite, right? We have the appetite, not necessarily true hunger, but if we have the appetite to continuously eat more and more and soothe, and we're all, tripped out and lost in the experience, that doesn't mean that we are truly hungry for more calories. So you also made the distinction there of nutrients. You can have a lot of calories, but yet have virtually no nutrition inside of the food or the substance that's masqueraded food as food, or the very devitalized fuel, where the quality of the fuel has really diminished because it's been so processed, it's been heated for so long, it's been so frozen, dehydrated, thawed, mixed, exposed to so many different extreme temperatures and so much handling, that now the food, the nutrition, the antioxidants, and the nutrients have been basically compromised and devitalized. So we don't think about this, right? That's not the jingles and the happy songs and the smiling faces that are marketed to us, right? As a matter of fact, we're constantly placated and we are reassured, that these cookies have 9 essential vitamins and minerals. Let me not say cookies. Well, there's Cookie Crisp cereal, which I used to love, right? I was a junk food junkie. But we are assured that these cereals or these heavily processed foods have they're fortified with 9 essential vitamins and minerals. A lot of times we don't even question or think any farther past that, right? And we do see a resurgence of people getting into farming and gardening, but the general population is very disconnected from really prioritizing and understanding the need for fresh nutrition, right? Nutrition with living water, really understanding how the quality, and when I say quality meaning the food has not been so processed so many times, so heated and frozen, that now it's not potent when it comes to nutrition. We're not given those distinctions. Even the pictures in school that were shown of the several food groups. There used to be 4 food groups. I don't know how many groups it is now, but they're usually showing you fresh food inside the picture. That's not what most of us are eating. It's just not on a regular basis. I would say for many folks, it's not even dominating most of our fuel intake. Fresh, whole, living, and unprocessed foods, right? As I like to call it. I like to frame it in that way so we can really have a different kind of picture, to start to introduce another kind of picture in our mind of our food. It can be very, very confronting, because many of us could think we just eat whatever we want, and we just decrease the amounts. And you could lose weight that way. Yet the nutrition, temporarily, usually it's not sustainable. And when it comes to nourishing the cells, we are all over 30 trillion living cells, living organisms, right, that require a different type of fuel in order to thrive, right, in order for our bodies and our immune systems to be strengthened, and so that when something comes up, we have some stuff stored in our, extra in our 401k Vitality, for if we had to get a surgery, or if we had an injury, so that we can heal, right? So we really want to explore, how is it that you know? So you said also that you don't have cravings. Can you distinguish when you're not hungry, like the sensations in your body, in contrast to when you do feel hungry?
When I'm not hungry,
Yeah, what kind of sensations are you feeling in your body? Temperature, irritability, calm. What do you feel?
what what I feel, I don't know. I just don't pay it for me. Because of the way that my mind is set up. Like if I'm hungry, I'm really hyper focused and tuned into it. So I feel hunger a little bit more strongly. I'm
Mm.
more irritable. I'm hyper focused on the feeling of being hungry, and that in turns make me even more irritable, and it's like a back and forth thing.
Mm.
When I have proper nutrition, hydration, and fiber, my body just feels good overall. I just don't pay attention to it because I'm not in any distress.
Mm.
Um,
It's like
and
an
part of
stress. Part of it is an absence of distress.
Yeah, I just feel whole. I don't know how to explain it. I just don't feel the thing with like the craving and the hunger. It was just uncomfortable, and it low key kind of affected my mental health.
Mm.
Um, when I address the issue, it's not something I think about. I'm usually, if it's not an issue with my body, because I'm really sensitive to how I feel, then I move on and think about something else that I want to do, as opposed to focusing on being hungry. Which is funny. I do still experience hunger, but I don't react the same as
Mm.
of late. I still get cravings in the middle of the night where my stomach growls and it's a little uncomfortable. I usually just go and drink some water, and usually just pass after a little while, because I reason with myself, and I sit with the discomfort, and I actually have gotten used to it as of recent, and it's not something that I focus on as much. Um, and going back to what we were talking about in terms of nuance, what I've been noticing as of late, since I've been kind of busy and life is always throwing something at me, I've been kind of, as I said before, like I've been eating food in a basic form. Like lately, I've been just throwing some salad and some cherry tomatoes and bell peppers in a bowl, and just covering it up and bringing it with me. I don't add no salad dressing, salt, or nothing. You know what I noticed? Like if I'm not eating, like if the difference, you can actually taste salt and bell pepper. That was the first time recently. I'm like, I taste salt in eggs and bell pepper. It's weird, but then when I eat a processed turkey patty, I'm like, this is too salty and I don't like it. Like if you just, and this is indirect. I wasn't intentionally doing it. It was more of, well, I did it out of necessity, because the more and more I work on my goals, the more and more I simplify things, and I'm not caring so much about it being seasoned or it being a complicated meal. I just take the basic fruits and vegetables, chop them up, and just take them with me and eat. I don't have time to cook. I'm not going to front. So I can't be fancy with it on only on the weekends, but during the weekday I keep my food as basic as possible.
Wait
And
a minute. This is really important, right? This is really important. So I just want to bring your attention to, you don't have time to cook. Though this is so wonderful. See how simple this is? Leverage lifestyle practice. You don't have time to cook yet. You've prioritized nutrition. So the real food, you're getting enough nutrition, and also in you simplifying everything, it's actually and it becoming like a habit. Your palate is shifting.
Yes.
Mhm.
And I noticed that when I eat the salad without all the fixins and the additives, the cheese, I like it plain. I like the crispy, toned down, taste of the salad, the taste of like the kind of like the sharp taste of the spinach a little bit, like that green taste. And I like the crispy, juicy taste of the bell peppers, and I like the taste. You can even taste the salt in the cherry tomatoes. It's like I taste so many different things, but as soon as I eat something that's already prepped and in a bag, I'm like, this is too salty or this tastes weird to me. I don't like it. So I'm experimenting a lot, and I've noticed that there was a point where I needed to have everything seasoned and have oil in it and salt and pepper, but like there's a time and place for that. Every now and then you can get like a meal like that, but during the week, I feel like for me personally, keeping it my food as basic as possible actually helps me mentally and physically, and it also helps with overwhelm. And I'm not I haven't been I have a lot that on my plate that I'm still in the process of working through, but overwhelm is starting to not be one of those issues as much as of late. um I'm constantly working on things anyway, though. Like, if you really take the time to like clean your palate, you're gonna realize that that processed food is just not it.
Mhm.
Like, you're gonna start craving regular food, like unprocessed fruits and vegetables taste better in the long term,
But now,
and usually,
let's replay the tape. How long was that process? Because when I think back to the early days, I'm sure when I was saying that, you might have been thinking in your head, "You got to be kidding."
yes,
I think
I was fighting you. I didn't have the how what's the word I'm looking for? I
it.
did not have the life experience or the mental capacity to understand what you were talking about. Does that make sense? It took me a couple of years of back and forth and me constantly experimenting. I don't even consider a failure anymore because it's just experiments, right? And now that I've actually, what it really means to understand something is not just intellectualizing it, but to actually embody it is like you need both. You need education and embodiment, like to actually feel and understand, and to a point where it's subconsciously part of you, and now it's real. It's like an absolute fact that fruits and vegetables way better than processed stuff. Like, I can't, and my brain works better when if I keep my diet clean. um as a matter of fact, this week I had a lot going on, good and bad.
Mm,
And keeping my food as clean as possible has really helped with stress,
mm,
um and me handling mental clarity, stress, and me handling certain situations. And that evidence, actual real-time evidence, is kind of reinforcing to me that uh for my own benefit, it's better that I keep my food as unprocessed as possible. um Also
and
exercise as well.
different before, where it's like, again, your mindset has shifted so much. It's continually shifting, because before it almost occurred like there's no time, I don't have time, and now it's like occurring to you, actually this is like save me time, in terms of like I have more space to deal with the things that are coming at me, you know.
You know what I realize? I have the time, but the thing is, because I'm chat GPT for the win, for real. Because, like, I've been using it heavy lately, and it's really helped to accelerate the things that I want to do.
Mm,
And I realized that, oh yeah, I know I have a focus issue, and the way for me to handle that is to minimize everything. And we went over this before, but like, well, first I had to like start to what's the word I was looking for? I had to start the
streamline.
time. I
Say
had
again.
to um can you hear me?
Yeah, yeah, I can hear you. I'm trying to hear what the last word you was that you said. You have to do what?
I'm in my mind, I'm like losing the word. It's like collect the time, but like I had to actually time. There you go. I had to time everything to see how long it took me to do things. And then once I wrote it down, and then I saw that if it took too much time and it caused overwhelm, then I took the time to simplify it as much as possible and minimize it as much as possible for me to have the mental space to think about other things that are important during the week.
Wow. It's streamlining even more. This is like
Yeah.
how all of this stuff is becoming a natural. It's becoming like a natural outcome, a natural evolution, right? As you organize it in your brain, you experiment. It's different than forcing yourself to do something. So now your whole tone when it comes to self experimentation, trying this, even timing it, assessing what it is that you're doing, right? To see how effective and efficient your lifestyle habits are. Is this flowing right off of your tongue now? Right?
Yeah, and things are coming together real nicely. You want to know what's odd? Lately, things have been showing up. It's weird. Like things are kind of falling together, and like things are apparent before me that aligns with what I want to do, and I wasn't even looking for it. It just popped up in front of me. And some of the stuff that I'm reading in some of the books that I'm reading, for my ADHD, right? I'm reading some of the stuff that I was reading in the book. I'm already doing, like the one particular book I was reading about exercise. A great way to handle ADHD, especially with exercise, is to break it up and do something that you enjoy throughout the day. And I was doing that before I got to that chapter in the book. I'm like, what? And I realized that, being a I'm a creature of comfort, of convenience and comfort. And I realize simplicity is comfort. Simplifying it, don't overcomplicate it, get straight to the point. That's convenience to me. Like, I just want to get straight to what I need. No like bells, whistles, or feathers, or like, overcomplicating things.
But see now, principle, simplicity is elegance. Simplicity is gourmet. Simplicity is elegance. Simplicity relieves stress. Just the simplicity. And so it's right underneath our nose, but the comprehension isn't there. Right. And as to the marketing, it's like big $1 billion budgets, $1 million budgets when it comes to marketing, to jingles and songs and tones and different types of presentation to trigger, right? Even though it's entertainment, to trigger your emotions. It comes through the back door, right? That's super powerful influence, right? Though now you have been intentional. You have been intentional about giving yourself new frames of reference, new experiences, loads of new education, the live journaling and challenging your internal dialogue.
The journaling.
Yes.
The journaling has been so important, the voice log and the journaling, because I've been doing it for what, like 3 months now, of where I do like and here's the kicker. So one of the suggestion in the book that I'm reading was to do voice notes or journaling and then reflect at, like, you do reflection at the end of the day. It's called like brain dumping, right? You brain dump at the end of the day about your experience and the things that you think about, and then the next day when your mind is clear, you read over where you was. It's like what I've noticed is, like, how I say this. Let me slow down. Whenever I have, like, if it's not me and my friends are telling me their problems, I'm quick to come up with a solution, right? But when it comes to myself, I was never able to do it. But with voice journaling and journaling in general, once I do the brain dump at the end of the day, and then the next morning I listen to myself, I'm doing the same thing I would do for a friend and coming up with solutions. And I'm noticing that it's it's accelerating my mindset. Like, whenever I fall off, because the brain dump is usually like what happened during the day, and if I notice something is off, then I'm like, oh, something is falling off. Let's recalibrate tomorrow. Let's figure something else out. It's like I'm constantly reverberating back and forth and constantly thinking about things that are important to me. And I feel like the journaling has really helped a lot and keeping me on track, because I fell off this week, but I'm not. The difference is, I'm not ashamed about it. I don't feel guilt about it. I know for a fact that, this Saturday and Sunday was my rest period, and Monday I'm gonna get back on the bandwagon and keep it pushing. It doesn't matter how often I fall off. It only matters how often I get back on. And the more I get back on, the car, the plane, the wagon, it matters. That matters more than worrying about how often I fall off. I'm human. One of the things I'm reading about compassion is that's just life. Like, things are going to be thrown at you. This week, things were thrown at me, and I had to make decisions. I prioritized exercising, but it kind of threw off other things, if that made sense. And that I'm working on. But I I'm not mad about it. Like, Monday, I'm actually excited about tomorrow because I'm thinking of another way to uh incorporate one of my goals. Because a lot of the things that I want to do only take about 15 to 30 minutes per task that's important for me. Like reading, I want to read more. And that's one of the things that I fell off with last week. Um, and the goal is to do 10 to 15 minutes a day. And I can find 10, 15 minutes to read. Ain't no excuse for that. I mean, yeah, life happens, but you can get back on, you can, I want to read more because I want to increase my vocabulary. I want to, train my brain. I want to just, there's a lot, and, the enrichment of it. I, all of this kind of intertwines into
Little commercial. I don't know if I mentioned it before, but one of the books that we're working on is this one right here. I don't know if you can see the title.
nonviolent communication.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, let me
So
see something.
I'm working with it with several folks, and we're going to be using it in our coaching. So although a lot of people use it in family dynamics and relationships, we're going to be using it also in the term called family systems. But actually, the family system, I invite you to reframe it as thinking of yourself as a family, the different aspects of you. Like, for example, thinking of your child self, your teenage self, your adult self, um, the dreamy part of your essence, right? That wants to have certain experiences while you're here, right? The mother and the nurturing part of you, right? So if you think of this, all of this as like your family, addressing those different aspects of yourself. So just like I like to reframe, like I love to reframe in a way that's useful and beneficial selfishly for myself. As a principle, using the family system to reparent yourself, right, is a big way we're going to be using it. So this is not merely for like marriage. A lot of people use this for marriages or family dynamics. We'll
Have,
also beneficial. You can still use this out in the world with coworkers and other people. But
have
these
you
we're applying to
have you
ourselves.
read the book already? Have you read it already?
Reading it. So I've been reading it and rereading it, different parts of it. So be sharing some of it on YouTube and also with the folks that I'm working with, right? So the author is Rosenberg. I think it's Marshall. Yeah, it's Marshall Rosenberg. It's an old book that I came across years ago, and different folks that have visited me. I didn't think they would be interested. Some people also, different younger generations, I didn't think they would be interested, but there's several people that express interest. And I think also culturally, we didn't really grow up. I know I didn't grow up with adults around me being very conscientious about how they communicated, right, and how we communicate with each other. I think it's a super important skill in life, and even more so, communication with our own internal dialogue. Does that make sense? Right, because that.
Yes.
Go ahead.
I already bought the book, so if you suggested it, I already know it's good.
Right. So, but like I said with other clients, usually there's nothing like immediate action towards a goal. So, I can think of someone that I've worked with over the years that released 100 pounds and gained it back and lost it again. And I'm an observer of patterns. Whenever I would say something before like the end of the day, they were like on it and send me a picture like it's done. That's a whole vibe and a whole energy, right? So yeah, we're gonna be working with it. It's really, really good. I found it's good in relationships, but we've heard it said before, and it's true. the most important relationship is the one that you have with yourself. I don't know about you, but I've constantly heard people say, ask me, what's your personal relationship with God like? I'm gonna say, what's your personal relationship like with yourself? Right? Not even to be performative online, but when nobody's around, during those times when you're fearful or you're triggered, and we numb out or we self-soothe, right? There's a relationship that's going on there, right? And it's a little more slippery, right? It's a little more challenging because most of us, we're not trained or supported in having a true present relationship with ourselves. Even from my perspective, when I hear people talking about your personal relationship with God, it's usually somebody proselytizing or preaching, or if they're trying to get you to come over to their church. Though if we're disrespectful to our bodies, if we're not present to the things we're doing, the impact it's having on our brain, the impact it's having on our nervous system, if we're placing ourselves in harm's way because it's a habit or we're not thinking deeply, then how can we truly say that we have I'm going to say, a presence when we're present in our relationship with ourselves? Does that make sense, what I'm
It
saying?
does. Can I say something quick about that? Because this week I've been putting in the work with the walk-in and all the other stuff, and
Yeah.
believe me, um, you wanna know something sinister? I've been like yesterday. I was planning on sleeping in late yesterday and today. I woke up at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, wow.
Automatically, I was like, why can't I go back to sleep? This is not right. My body is starting to respond.
The clock, you're training. So when we talk about training, a lot of our habits, they're trained in physiologically, they're trained in chemically, they're ingrained into our nervous system. So we're saying things, but we're kind of disconnected. We're thinking, everything is set like in motion already. We're conditioning our mind and we're conditioning our habits. So when we engage in habits where we're not present, we're not thinking, they become so ingrained, we just do it on automatic pilot without thinking.
Yes, you're right. And the thing is, I thought that, previously, I thought that I had an issue, a lot of issues because, the whole ADHD thing. The ADHD is not going to stop me from developing the habit because, as of the last 2 months of me accelerating the work or being a little bit more consistent with my working out and the things that are important to me, I'm starting to get some return on my investments in little things. One of those things is, especially in the morning, around 5, 6 o'clock, when I get up and I'm drowsy or tired a little bit from the day before, because work is kind of kicking my behind a little bit. Um, Going back to what you said about like having a relationship with yourself, I constantly often think about the amount of effort I put in my own personal development and my health. And I think to myself, like, this is difficult. This is hard. I'm worth it. And then I think about my relationship with other people and how I was treated. And I'm like, you're busting your buns every day to get up and walk and feed yourself and do right by yourself. Are you going to really allow other people to harm? Like, it's so hard. Like, I've several mornings in a row, I was like, I will not tolerate disrespect. I will not tolerate my time being wasted. I will not tolerate being hurt by someone who said that they love me. I like the amount, because it's so hard and it's so difficult. It's like now I see the value in myself more than before. And I take the time now to really, quietly think about what people's intentions are, their motives, and whether I want to be involved or not. Because truth be told, fitness and mental health is no joke. When you actually do commit to it, it's hard, but it's worth it. I don't know how to explain it. It's not hard like I want to avoid it. It's hard that it's worth it because I see the benefits, but because of how much time and effort it takes, I don't have time for the nonsense of other people. I don't have the time for the games. It's like, when I listen, after I do my morning walk, I don't have time for the nonsense with other coworkers in the morning. I'm drained of anxiety and people pleasing by the time I get to work. I just look at people like, good morning. They go on with their whatever they talking about to me, and I don't involve myself. I'm quiet and I go do my job. I don't have I literally, the walking knocks out a lot of that nervous, insecure energy. like exercising, and I realized that it is a really good medicine for ADHD. It really helps me with focus.
So you
Um,
now make the distinction, right? We talk a lot about, communicate a lot about the distinction between fuel and energy. A lot of times at the end of the day, even with the best intentions, we don't have any more energy. We've got extra fuel and adipose tissue stored on the body, yet we don't have enough energy because we already spent it. And so now what I'm hearing, like, just flow right off your tongue. Like it's more, you're integrating more. Now when you're integrating, it's a part of you. Like the comprehension is there. It's clicking. Like, I'm paying myself. What do we say? Pay yourself first. So if you pay yourself first, you like you said, now you literally don't have the energy for the other stuff because you spent it on yourself first. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. It's worth it. And as of late, because my schedule keeps changing, a lot in the company, getting up in the morning it is mandatory for me because I've had mornings where, after I do my walk, my boss would, contact me and change my schedule. And then I would have like kind of a rough day, kind
Mm.
of, but I got my walk in. And usually while I'm at work, I still integrate even more so, like, um, because of the soreness of working out. Whenever I have a break, I'm either walking around, I'm doing a lot of stretching, I get the blood flowing in my body. Like, I can't sit down for long periods of time. It hurts. So every break and every chance I'm getting, I move, I stretch, I drink water. And that's additional exercise that I don't count, on my, polar flow. I'm not even worried about that. And sometimes there are
That's
days.
hold on. That's your NEAT. Non-exercise energy thermogenesis. This is what I'm saying. Once you engage, everything starts to flow. So your non-exercise energy thermogenesis basically means you're more active during the day. So your specific movement practice, your exercise session, that's very specific. Yet that doesn't mean that we still shouldn't move throughout the day. So now look how seamlessly everything is being integrated. My gosh, it's like everything.
Yes, I stretching is so important to me right now. I'm actually doing some research into it because, like, I need to stretch. It's mandatory. Like, I feel terrible if I don't stretch.
Mm,
I hold a lot of, what's it called again? Like, a lot of anxious energy within my muscles and my body, and I'm often tight and rigid.
mm.
When my mind is clear and I'm not all over the place and I actually, in tune with my body, I notice that I clench a lot. I have a lot of tension all over my body, and stretching helps to relieve some of that tension, a lot of it, especially after like working out, stretching, it really helps a lot. That goes back to the whole somatic therapy thing too. That somatic therapy really helped me to get really in tune with, um, really get really sensitive to my body and its needs. Um, you know what I also noticed? When you said that, like, whatever you think about shows up in front of you, that's not, an exaggeration. I've noticed other people actually exercising throughout the day. While I was on a break, and because one of my, students had, canceled, I had went to the park and I noticed this gentleman that was working for Con Edison. He had like elastic bands. He was parked at the park in his uniform and he was doing workouts, next to his van, and I was sitting there kind of, I people watch a lot. He did his 15 minutes and got back into the van and went back to work. And I'm like,
Wow.
you'll be surprised. You can find the time. And this is why, calling my own BS out, you can find the time.
It's on your radar now. You see though, but before you wouldn't have noticed it because now you're on that channel. It's not mugujuk. It's actually very practical because you're doing it and it's in your thought. You're in the conversation. So now it's showing up. It's showing up on your radar. It's showing up on your radar. So there are a couple of things that I invite you to think about. You can perhaps even journal about it, right? Is when it comes to having enough calories or fuel, right? So we've made the distinction between fuel, calories and fuel, and energy. The movement practice can energize you. A lot of the other things in the reading and the education is also energizing you, right? Some things to consider when it comes to having enough fuel is our digestion. What is our digestion feeling like? Bloating, right? Or swelling, right? Which can come from water retention, too much food, stress, several things, digestion, bloating, your energy levels, and the state of your sleep. These are all things that can clue and cue us into knowing that we've had enough fuel and calories, as well as the cues, the satiation cues, right? Where you can feel a slight, not over stuff, but you can feel like when you have enough water and fiber from the food, like the physical cues of satiation in your body, like a sense of like, I've had enough, right? And that usually would take a few minutes to register, right? Usually we don't feel that as we're eating. So because we're often eating and we are distracted while we're eating, we won't notice, we won't be dialed in to pay attention to cues, physical cues of satiation, because we have like, I call it a split mind, right? We're distracted while we're consuming nutrition for the body, right? We're not really present. So you're not going to notice if, in your stomach until sometimes you've overeaten, if you've had enough. Does that make sense?
Yes, it does. I've kind of experienced a little bit of that too, especially if I eat my vegetables first and then everything else last, and I sip the small drinks of water in between. I noticed that, like, I did an experiment where I ate half my breakfast, and then I added that half of that breakfast to my lunch,
Mm-hmm.
and I realized that you really don't need. Before, I'll say this: I've been challenging the idea of because before I wanted to like bulk eat healthy food, but in low in calories because I don't like feeling not full. But as of late, I'm getting comfortable with not feeling full, but just being happy and normal. I don't explain it. Like, I just feel not bloated. I don't feel bloated. I don't feel drowsy. I'm clear of mind. And my stomach doesn't hurt. There's no gas or indigestion. It's just that I'm just not hungry.
So you're
There's
getting
a
to satiation, and then also it sounds like you're making the distinction and building the awareness of the difference between hunger and appetite. Or your appetite might be stimulated from stress, or the compulsion to eat, which is not necessarily true hunger for water, hydration, and actual antioxidants. Most of us don't really get to a point to feel hunger. Usually we're feeling appetite, appetite that's been stimulated from TV or from fear or from nervous anxiety or even from being sleepy, and tired, that we'll find ourselves, we have now been conditioned to just consume things, right? It's rare that we get a chance to be really quiet or to be out in nature or we're in front of the screen. When you go outside, you can see for yourself in the park. I was like, oh my gosh, it's all of the stuff I hear is so much better than TV. But we're so connected. I heard this man make an analogy that's like, it sticks in my head. This gentleman was saying to take the phone. I invite you to take it out of your pocket and put it in a separate room. So basically, so he said, he used the word like, it's like the phone has become like a limb, like an extension of you, and it's like a limb, right? Which to me is horrifying. It's alarming. So he recommended you take it out your pocket and put it in another room, so you can get some space, and you can also start to see just how much it's become like a habit. It's starting to become ingrained. We're reaching for it on reflex without thinking, right? And this is how we do a lot of things. Go ahead.
I agree with that. I realize that I got to work on that. I'm not going to lie about it. I spend too much time chasing cheap dopamine on the phone. I'm going to have to constantly work on that. And the reason why I say, I was thinking about that on one of my walks. Um, it was a Thursday. I was tired on Thursday. And again, my schedule had shifted and I had some time. I had like 40 minutes in between pickups. There was remember I was telling you about like Saddlebrook Park, that huge park that's 6 miles long. They have like 4 recreational areas.
Wow.
I drove over there to a different section out of like curiosity and excitement. And, I ended up walking about 2 miles. Now keep in mind the morning of, I did a mile in the morning. That took it out of me. I gotta be careful. It was I wasn't paying attention to how long I was walking as much as I was being enriched in the environment in and of it. So I should have posted those pictures in
Hmm.
the group because I was taking a lot of pictures of the things that I saw. Um,
So you see how natural it is? That's why I say a daily personal movement practice in contrast to merely just exercising, right? Because usually that has a whole connotation to it, right? This is like just living.
yeah, like I noticed while one thing I've been doing a lot is I like to people watch. Um, I'm not gonna, I kind of I am a little antisocial. I don't really like people, but but not, I think the reason why I don't like people is because I haven't taken the time to set up boundaries. That's why. I'm not gonna, sugarcoat it and then blame others. I know why I don't like people and I'm currently working on it. But as I'm doing my walks and I'm watching people, I really do admire the runners. I might one day when I get to that point, get to that level of fitness, I'm gonna start running. Cause like I said to you a couple of 2 sessions ago, like they're, you know, I like the way that they look. I like the body type, the slim. Everything is not bulky. Like they're so like they seem light. I don't like explain it. It's like their body don't seem heavy.
So
Anyway,
fun, right? Back in the day, I've said several times that if you think of like your movement practice, like I like to think of it kind of like as rides at the amusement park, and I want to sample all the rides. So I might want to sample pole dance, and I want to sample Polynesian dance. Like those things get me excited. Well, I'm not thinking I'm exercising; it's just fun, right? So as you become more curious, and on your radar, it's like you got this human avatar. It's like, wow, I'd like to experience that. I want to do that. Can I do that? Like I always wanted to sprint. There's so many things I wanted to do as a child, but it just wasn't put in front of me. So I was like, something like out of curiosity, I wonder if I could do that. And then I make a decision, I'm going to do that. And I just do it. Not perfect. I'm a park and sprint. Somebody people say, are you a sprinter? And I just start saying, yeah, I am. I guess because I'm sprinting. Am I not? I'm not in the Olympics. I'm not on anybody's team. I'm even talking to myself. I'm calling myself an athlete. I'm having a whole conversation with myself as I'm going around the park, as I'm stopping at different parts and seeing the swans and other stuff. It's like a whole experience that I'm having. And by the time I get to the end, up that last final hill, I usually do what I call a victory sprint. I made it through the whole thing and I just go back and forth. Maybe I'll sprint like 3 times, right? And I feel so excellent that I gave myself this very rich experience, right? And it's so clear in my mind, like, when I go back to visit New York, like I love Prospect Park because I have a whole series of like sweet memories, right? Not only sweet memories, but they're memories that motivate me because it's like, wow, something that I decided to just do on my own. I wasn't sure if I could do it. I did. I've done it several times. Like I can't. It's to me for me to describe how I feel. Like I feel. It sounds corny. I feel like a champion. I feel like an athlete. That's something I've given to myself.
that's how I felt doing 2 miles. You couldn't like a year ago. I was struggling to walk a mile around the park in those hills, and I felt like I was gonna die. And I'm now up to almost 3 miles, and I ain't gonna lie to you. I still feel like I'm about to die doing 3 miles, but I feel proud this time around, and there's benefits to it too. Hmm?
Distinction. That's something key. When you say I feel like I want to die, which part of the I, which part of you, which part of the I feels like it's gonna die? Let's see if you can identify it. Make the distinction. Which part of the I? And what
I
I
know
mean,
I'm not gonna actually die, but it's like the exhaustion. Like I gave it my all type of thing.
and when you have it in your brain, right? If we can identify it, because they don't question it. Let's say the intelligence in our brain that's communicating out here in this 3D world. There's, as I call it, your essence or your internal compass of intelligence, and you have your ego, your security system that wants you to keep you safe at all costs, right? It's on the lookout for any kind of fear or anything. It wants to keep you safe by any means necessary. It might take you out trying to keep you safe, right? The ego can also have a tendency to be very skewed and put us in harm's way, and because um, recklessness might register as comfort and familiar and safety. Um, it might register, something that's not good for you could register because it feels good could register as safety. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense? Something that's challenging on your internal compass, it might register as like a death. It's like, oh my gosh, can I make it? Can I make it? But the essence inside of you that's being adventurous knows, I want to experience this. This is and I think this is huge. This is something that I want to experience in my while I have a human body. This is something I want to do. This I want to go around this park. I want to see what could happen. Does this make sense? What I'm saying?
It does. And every single time I break a plateau, I get a little benefit, like a little tinge. Like lately, one of the benefits that I've seen so far, even though my week is stressful, I've noticed that my fatigue levels have dropped, that I'm not as sleepy. Like I'm not sleepy and irritable. Um I recover from like irritability, like mental health issues that I usually have. Like they're not as present. I don't know how to explain it. The more I work on the exercise and the nutrition, the less I focus on my mental health and like focusing on the bad parts of it. Does that make sense? Like I can have I'll be miserable, but it'll be like for an hour or so, and then I move on and I'm on to something else because I'm more interested in doing the thing that amuses me. Well, amuses me for my growth. Like I'm so in tune with my goals and moving forward that I don't think too much about, like I don't ruminate as much as more before. I'm not as irritable as before.
You have a whole. How does that make you feel? Like, so it's like you're constantly out here. I'm going after my goals. You're giving yourself certain experiences. How does that make you feel?
I feel good because it's like I'm not sweating the small stuff. I don't care no more. Like I know, like I do care about my feelings, but I don't dwell on them because it's a waste of time. Because I'm actually having, this is difficult for me. The whole fitness and mental health is very difficult for me, but I'm also having fun. I'm not, and I feel enriched. I ain't gonna lie. Like, and the fun and the enrichment, it tingles my fancy, and I keep going for it. And since I have limited energy throughout the day, I'm like, either I'm gonna sit here and ruminate about something that doesn't give me any benefits, or I'm gonna get over it and go on to the stuff that I want to do. Like the more I think about my own personal growth, the more I feel I'm excited, and I'm more focused on that than all the bad that could happen. Um,
You
I
do
don't
you,
put.
do you realize that you're giving yourself very rich experiences?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I'm gonna continue to do so. You don't, like, I didn't know how vast the state that I live in. I didn't even, okay, the park that I'm talking about is 6 miles long. I live in the state for all these my entire life. I didn't even know that park existed. I was mad. Every time I go there, I'm like, why is this huge park in the middle of the city? I'm like, this is an oasis in the desert. And I did not know that my entire life of living here, I did not know this huge park existed.
It just wasn't. So when I say stay in the communication, do you see now what I mean? When I say stay in the when I say stay in the conversation, if you go out of the conversation, you're still at your set point. The set point doesn't leave. You want to put just as much new experiences in as that old conditioning, and that takes a while to
You
do.
know,
Having fun at the same time, that leverages it. That's kind of like speeds it up because you're giving yourself. It's like you're not. It's like you're giving yourself like really good reasons to be here. You know what I'm saying? That they're not dependent on your looks. It's not dependent on other people. You're giving yourself a rich life in spite of everything else that's going on. You're cultivating a life worth living.
yeah, I agree. And I'm so happy. Yeah, I stayed in the conversation. You know what it is? As I said before, I'm a creature of like comfort, and I want what I want immediately. So when you're telling me that I don't get a time frame of when things will work out for me, it irritates me. I ain't gonna lie. It's a control thing. Um, because it's like there's no time frame. How do I know when it's gonna work? When is the stuff that I want gonna pop up? And it's so overwhelming, and the unknown made me so fearful and overwhelmed that I just gave up, because if I don't have a reference of it, then it doesn't exist to me, and so I won't go for it. But now that I stayed, the 4 years was necessary to get to this point, and it's funny because I'm accelerating I've done more in 3 months than I've done in 4 years. And the 4 years was necessary because it was a amalgamation of all my experiences, and now I'm actually piecing it together for me to now run with it. It all connects to each other. It was necessary, and I'm so thankful I did not give up.
The best
I've
It's sustainable. That's the thing, slow and steady. Now, when it's integrated, it's not like, oh, back in the day I used to exercise. No, when it's integrated, right, it's really become a part of you. It's integrated into your thinking and reasoning process. When you think about making a decision, should I move today? Should I go to the park or whatever today? Now you've put enough of a deposit. You have like a nice foundation, a firm foundation. No, I'm doing this because this makes me feel blah, blah, blah. That's different than trying to beat yourself up or force yourself into something. And something I'm going to be doing on starting August 4th, is like a 30-day transformation. And the focus is going to be devotion over discipline, right? And when I say devotion, I'm speaking to that relationship with yourself. It's nuanced, but it's a big part. It's usually a big part of what's missing when it comes to why we don't stick with healthy eating and fitness. It's coming from a place of trying to force and to discipline, to shame, to beat up. It doesn't there's like a lot of mental resistance to feeling that. Though, as you start to explore devotion, just like we would be devoted to relationships, devoted to other people, devoted to religion, now devoted to a relationship with yourself in the most practical sense. Like devoted, that means you can't just say, I'm devoted, to Lily, but you never have conversations with Lily. You don't even know what she's thinking, what she really wants, how is she really feeling. So usually we're just parroting stuff off to each other, right? And popular, it's just parroting what sounds good. Though devotion, as you really start to get, like, if you think of somebody being devoted to you, right? Because sometimes it seems like it's easier for us to think about it in the context of a remote romantic relationship. Because that's some heavy conditioning, right? As you think about, wow, I wish if this person is devoted to me, they really take the time to think about me, what I'd like to eat. They make me teas. They pack my lunch really nice, and even when they get busy, they still think about me. That's you.
You're
That's you.
right.
So that's the perspective that I'm coming from: devotion over discipline to get to another level of results. Does this make sense?
It does, because part of when you say devotion, I think that's what it is right now for me. I agree with that. Then discipline. Discipline for me, the word just sounds kind of restrictive. Devotion sounds loving, because throughout my life, the level of devotion that I've shown to people, like I will do what I can, and I'll find a way. Does that make sense? Like I'll always find a way to do something for somebody.
Key distinction. Just when you even said that, right? Pictures, feelings, emotions come up. You're doing something for your mother. You're doing something for somebody you care about. And it's like, I don't have a way. Not even thinking about yourself. I'm going to find a way. That has an emotion. That has determination. That's devotion. That's devotion. That's also a character trait. The interesting thing is we are conditioned to have devotion for something outside of ourselves and not for ourselves, especially as women, especially as chocolate women. We are conditioned, we are literally told to have devotion to something and some things and people outside of ourselves we can't recognize. And what's the devotion to us? We're conditioned to have devotion to things outside of ourselves and not be devoted, not from a point of a mystery, but literally devoted to our very selves, our very lives, the very things we want to experience in our lives. You want to experience art? You're devoted to yourself. It's like, yo, I want to experience that while I still have a human suit. I want to draw this. I want to go paint and take an easel by the lake. I want to ride my bicycle with a picnic basket and unload my easel. And what kind of experiences do you want to have? Right? Imagine somebody's asking, Lily, what would you like to do for your birthday? Okay, we're going to do that every week this year. Every week. And imagine if somebody did that for you. It's like, yo, I can't believe that this person has not missed a week of being devoted to me. That would likely bring you to tears, would it not?
Oh, everybody, yes, and everybody that I was devoted to, they loved the hell out of me as long as I was devoted to them. I'm like, oh yeah, I need to turn that inwards.
Almost, isn't it wild that it seems foreign to apply that to ourselves? That's deep.
Yeah, it's disturbing because when I actually, in my morning walks, I'm like, I think about death a lot, but not in a negative way, like a victim. I think about like the importance of my time, the fact that I'm aging, and that one day I will pass, and like, every year seems to be going by faster the older I get. And I'm like, I think about what my priorities are. I think about what's important to me. I think about the things that don't matter, that the things that I used to blow out of proportion with other people. I'm thinking about like how it didn't matter and the insignificance of it because everything passes and eventually I will too. And I'm more focused on like living the life that I want as opposed to focus on the things that are negative and hurt me.
A string of experiences, right? It sounds so poetic. The life we want to live, it's experiences. And if every single day, I don't have time for that. I wish I did, but I don't. That has a feeling. It has emotions behind that. Dejectedness, depression is going to come if you're not experiencing the things you want to experience in your body while you have it. Because we will. That's for sure. That's beyond any religion. Nobody really knows what's coming after, but we're here alive right now in this 3D plane. What do you want to experience while you have a human suit? So you're giving yourself those experiences.
I
That's
agree.
gonna make you feel. That's gonna make you feel good. Well, you can tell me. It has a feeling
It
to
does.
piling up those kinds of feelings and emotions. That's going to affect your whole mood. It's going to affect the decisions for what you put into your mouth because now you're increasing your frame of reference for what is pleasure.
It's true. I don't know who said it, but it is true. What I don't know where the quote was, but like what you think is what you believe and what you are. So it's the truth. Because I can vividly remember me telling myself I didn't have the time for my fitness and my health in general. And I think therefore I was and I am whatever. Oh, I did not have time because that was my reality. That was my universe at the time. But now that I have a different mindset and that I will find time no matter how busy my schedule is and no matter what life throws at me, I'm finding the time. It's being I literally have moments where I have 15, 20 minutes. I'm like, oh, let's do this now. Oh, while I have the energy, I'm gonna do this now. Oh, I have the time. Let me do this now. Like I find it now because that's what I think. Therefore, I am.
So what,
So
Lily? What shifted? What shifted?
what shifted? Valuing myself. Like I had to find out, I want to live. I have like goals and aspirations for my life, and you know, I love myself, and I had to find that value. And I think everybody has to find it in themselves. I thought I loved myself, but I didn't understand I didn't have like a context. I didn't have enough life experience to understand what it really means to love myself. Like what you said about devotion. Like I was looking for devotion and love. I was giving it to other people in hopes they'd give it to me, but I needed it to give it to myself. And I never had it until recent. Like I'm starting to really see what it means to really fall in love with yourself, to fall in love with life, the good and the bad. I appreciate the bad because it makes the fun times even more exceptional.
Mhm.
Um, and
So would it be fair to say that you kind of like pull back from being a human battery for everybody and everything else?
I don't got it. I don't have it. Like my energy is so like I'm not listen, exercising, yes, it has a lot of mental health benefits, but it will make you really think about where you putting your energy at. Like I don't have the time for nonsense. Like I literally sit and that's another thing too. Recently I've been kind of like quiet watching myself while I interact with other people and kind of controlling myself and being neutral. And I realized that if you just stand still and you just listen to people, you don't feed into it throws them off. Like I'll just sit there and they go out with their jokes or whatever. I'm like, okay, I don't care. But I don't have the energy. Like I'm prioritizing my walk. Like it's either you